Now moving on from accessibility, diversity and sustainability, or insustainability as someone suggested, we turn our attention to a technology with the potential to revolutionize education, the metaverse. Despite some recent challenges, the metaverse continues to hold immense promise for creating immersive learning experiences. Our next panel will explore the following question that despite metaverse slowdown, is immersive education the future? And joining us for this discussion, I now like to invite our panelists. Our first panelist, Aditi Jain, Senior Director, Global COE/OD and HR Strategy, VisionNet, a thought leader in the field of organizational development and human resources strategy. Aditi, please welcome on stage. Our second panelist, Mr. Saurav Bhaik, founder and CEO, Tagbin and Stylin, an entrepreneur driving innovation in augmented and virtual reality solutions. Welcome, Saurav. And the session will be moderated by Ashok Pandey, Associate Editor, PC Quest, a journalist with a keen interest and acumen in emerging technologies. Over to you, Ashok.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us, Aditi and Saurav. So I want to take you a little bit back in the years. I want to take you the era when Guru and Shishya culture was there. Around 2000 years back, we used to have some chalk, the Guru Shishya Parampara was there. Then till 1980s, there was no major development in terms of technology for the education system. After 80s, when technology came in the picture, we got massive change. And now from blackboard to whiteboard, and now we have at the space where digital board has taken the place. So we have saw a tremendous change in this space in past couple of years. Now we are moving forward as a immersive experience. So Aditi and Saurav, I would like to talk about around this space. As these technologies are coming and technologies like AR, VR and multiple other things, what kind of transformation in terms of immersive learning, education, what you think will take over?
Thank you for that. You rightly described technology has evolved the entire education and the learning space. We had digital transformation with computers coming in, with virtual learning coming in. It has connected the entire world where you can access courses across geographies, across universities. And after that, the use of AI, ML, that has the potential of transforming it even more. I think with the use of AI tools, like VR, it has immense potential. Till now, I think in corporate sector, if I talk about, we have been able to leverage things like gamification, simulation, and other forms of immersive learning. Because what we've realized is that there is a huge gap when it comes to practical learning. And we need our learning systems to support where people not only read and listen, but can also have a hands-on experience. And that's why simulations, and I was just talking to my colleague before this session, play a huge role because they get to experience as close as reality as possible. And with the new AI tools, I think the potential is even more. Yes, there are some challenges, there are certain costs attached, and that's why it's the future. But it will be a future because, and it's not that it is new, right? In the health sciences, in defense, in aviation, I mean, we have all heard of pilot simulations or surgeons doing simulations because this helps them practice their dexterity and expertise in a very safe environment. And that's what we will need in other areas as well. So I see that as a huge potential.
Saurav?
Thank you, Mr. Ashok. Since this is a very complex subject, I've been into this field for almost 10 years, working in the field of AR, VR, MR. I see everybody talking about it, but very few people actually know what is AR, VR, and MR, and there's always a confusion. I'll start from that. and then I'll take it further that how we can actually use it. AR is augmented reality. So any device, if you can see the real world and a 3D object in it, it's a augmented reality. So Snapchat filter is a augmented reality. So if you can have, let's say, an animal here or a lion here in this real environment, and if we are seeing it through any screen, it's augmented reality. Then the second is virtual reality, where you wear any headset and you go to a completely different environment. So that's a virtual reality. Now mixing both of them, where you are wearing a goggle and you can see the world around, you are not blinded, but still you are interacting with that. It's called mixed reality. Now all of these, hardware manufacturers are moving towards mixed reality because every technology has a challenge. In virtual reality, you get blinded. You cannot wear it for more than 2-3 minutes. There is a dizziness, So to solve that, there are 2-3 level of innovations which are actually happening. One is at the hardware level, which companies like Oculus and Apple Vision Pro, they are working upon. And as these technologies becomes more and more advanced, more and more user friendly. For example, you cannot wear these devices for more than 15-20 minutes. If you cannot wear these devices, they are of no use. The content is not as real as of now. So what I have seen in last 10 years, from Google Cardboard, where you used to put phone inside a cardboard, till now Apple Vision Pro, where people are driving, using Apple Vision Pro. So we are seeing that it is moving. It will take 5-10 more years for this product to become, user friendly. I was just explaining that technology goes through innovation till the time we as a people are satisfied. For example, we are satisfied with the speed of car. We don't want car moving, at a speed of 300, 400s, like there are supercars like that. But the technology in the immersive field have actually not reached to that level. In next 5-7 years, we will see the technology reaching there. And that is when we will see the mass adoption of these technologies actually happening. I don't know how many of you have a virtual reality headset. They are expensive. They are also not very user-friendly currently. Since I am an early adopter, I am into a business where we are working with institutes, governments, because they can afford a Apple Vision Pro of 3 lakh rupees, but not everyone can afford it. But in that case, I don't call anything else other than immersive. Whatever you see in a screen is not immersive, is Web 2.0. Maybe you have a 3D environment in that, that's not immersive. But for immersive, you need to have those gadgets, and those gadgets to be of that level where they are really, really useful and at affordable level where everyone can use them. Imagine Apple Vision Pro, which is very lightweight, just like a spectacle. And I am moving forward in any environment. I am looking at one person. Data is being pulled. Who is that person? What is the information about? Obviously, there can be a privacy breach here, but you can do a lot of things. All your computers become in the air. That's what is possible currently with Apple Vision Pro. So I would say the first thing is the hardware advancement on which many companies are working, and I have seen it become better and better every year. And with time, it will become as better, as light, and as affordable that everyone can afford it. And that is when I think the mass adoption of these technologies will happen.
So as you briefly touched upon the challenges, which are the bottleneck for this technology, can you go around the infrastructure challenges? Content is another major challenge, and cost. So can you deeply talk about this, what these challenges and how you are conquering these challenges?
Currently, I would say that education is not an institutional thing. Till the time we don't make it accessible for individual, we won't be able to really impact that. Whatever use cases we have done, we have built a Prime Minister Museum. We have built another museum at Rakhigadi. We are building a museum in Nalanda. So what we do is that we use virtual reality and augmented reality to take visitor back in the era of how Nalanda University used to be at that time. So all these infrastructures are available and can be afforded by an institution, but not by an individual. Like I said, Moore's law says that every 2 years the efficiency becomes double and the price reduces. So if we follow the same curve, if we are able to make them affordable at the price of a smartphone, then I think it is a great learning tool because you are not looking two-dimensional. Your Web 3.0 is that where everything is in the air, like, and you can walk through it. So that is where I see that in coming future, when this becomes as affordable as smartphone, then it is going to revolutionize. Then our computer, phone, everything will be that device which we will be wearing. And that is how we see a lot of companies like Facebook changing their name to Meta because they highly believe in that. The next generation is to be Web 3.0 interactive thing. And I believe the infrastructure with time will become better, affordable. And then the early movers who are working in this field will have a lot of advantage in creating content and narrative around it.
Aditi, as he mentioned about the different challenges,
Yeah.
in your case, challenges could be different.
Some of them are very similar,
Okay.
cost being the biggest one, because like he rightly said, one, the lack of such hardware which can be used for multiple people, especially in a private sector, in a corporate sector, that is a very difficult thing. So yes, that's one. I think also content, creating a content which is very relevant, which can be updated, and which can be contextualized to an organization. That's a huge challenge. And maybe that's where new streams of education, new streams of skill building would help in future, where we have people who have the knowledge of the technology and who are skilled enough to make such a content as per the needs of the organization. So I think that's the biggest one. Apart from that, I mean, see, like I said, in my organization, we are a global organization, and we try a lot to create blended learning approaches, learning which is very hands-on, very practical across virtual medium. But yet we are still to go for AR or augmented reality or virtual reality because of the costs, because of the difficulty in obtaining these, right? But we have gone for different, I would say, primer and raw for older forms of immersive learning. But other challenges that I also see when we talk, is one could be the whole data privacy. And I think that needs to be also handled when we really want to foray into this area, because 10 years down the line, when we want this technology to be affordable, we also need to take care of how the learner's history would be taken care of, how that should not be misused, should not have unauthentic, access to it. So I think the regulators, the technologists, the policymakers all need to come together and form guidelines around it. So I think that's a very important one.
You are rightly mentioning that cybersecurity is major concern, whether it is training, education segment, or the virtual reality. As we were discussing earlier, so it is an open world for everyone, and everyone can be any other person.
Yeah.
So, Saurav, I need your opinion here. How we can protect this space? Is there any framework needs to be implemented?
So, for example, you're mentioning about metaverse, where there is a digital persona. So, I see one threat that if everybody have a digital persona of there in a metaverse, and they are exploring, interacting virtually, like we have seen when this metaverse became popular, that people abusing each other on internet, people molesting each other, on internet. There was a lot of news about it. Imagine there's a digital, persona of you, because nobody is regulating it. I am Saurav on internet. I'm anonymous, so I can be anything. It's a dark web. So what I feel is that there has to be regulation. It's a far-fetched problem because currently we're talking about basic problems: infrastructure, content, adoption, and this problem will come in future when adoption will become more and more. So I believe linking your identity, whatever your identity, linking your identity to your digital identity is also very important, so that we know that who is the person, what he is doing, because since when this metaverse world become more and more popular, and the transactions are happening, people are having conversation around that, so it's very important to link your personal identity to the digital identity, so that there is someone accountable for whatever happening, and obviously there has to be a regulation or a body on top of it to monitor that.
You want to add something?
No, I echo that completely.
Okay. So, as we were talking about the hardware cost, maybe the infrastructure is not there, content is not available right now, but down the line, after 5 years or maybe 10 years, that will be available readily, and maybe the cost will be lower. What kind of prediction or trends you are seeing in this space that will drive the change?
You know, imagine this is beautiful. Like, imagine that everything is in the air, like, and it's light, it's affordable. You don't no longer, need to carry your phone. Everything is out there. Like, it's a beautiful, like, dream, but it is going to happen. And then, like, this will be very, very, like, effective and productive in all sort of, form. Let me give you some examples. Like, we are doing a training academy for NASIN. NASIN is a National Academy for Narcotics and Indirect Taxes. We are training narcotics officers and income tax officers how to, find suspect. So since they are, going through and scanning everybody, so we know that this is the person who has a past history. This is the person who is behaving in a different manner. That kind of, like, information, like, by just scanning, I can just scan him, I can have his identity, like, revealed, but obviously only limited to the people, like, who should, otherwise, again, we were talking about privacy issues here. So in education, in, everyday world, like, life would be so simple, like, for us. Every time we have to Google something up, it's right there, like, you can have multiple spaces. I had a chance of, we have Apple Vision Pro, and it's amazing. If it is light, if it is affordable, and there are content around it, I feel that, that is where the future is moving.
So I would like to add upon the dream that I think as a corporate, as a global companies that we could see, because the impact that such a technology could have. Currently, how we are leveraging simpler forms of immersive learning is that when we train our global teams who are separated by different geographies and time zones, we face a huge struggle in terms of how to get them together in one room for a program that is meant for all of them together. And what we end up doing, because we all know virtual training, virtual webinar, virtual learning, your attention span doesn't last for more than 60 or 90 minutes probably. So what we have started doing is we've started adding a lot of 3D simulations, which is where through Grand Prix and through different kind of scenarios, people choose things, people make decisions in the ground, people make realistic teams, and they also understand the costs of those decisions. Right? I think from there, where I would like to go, I would like to imagine a scenario where there is a meeting room that is happening, people are brainstorming, people are ideating in person through their digital personas, and the only difference is they are not present in real. They are connected from different part of the world, but they feel that they are seamlessly connected in person and having an interaction as real as possible without any virtual medium. So I think that's the dream for corporate.
Okay. So Saurav, I'll come to you again. Like you both were talking about AI, and AI is helping in a different manner for different industries. AR, VR, and in terms of content creation also, AI is playing a major role. So like you were talking about the Nalanda University, which is right now nowhere, but you created a virtual image of that particular thing. So can you talk about how AI is evolving and how it is impacting this space in terms of increasing the content, in terms of helping others to create content and visualize which is actually not there, and how you guys are utilizing, if in case you are utilizing AI to generate the content.
So I'll give you two real life examples which everybody would be able to relate. We have in one of the museum, we built a museum in Jyotisar. It's called Gita Museum. What we have done, we have taken a version of Bhagavad Gita, and we have fed the entire data to a large language model, and then we have created a hologram of Shri Krishna. So through a normal language conversation, we are asking questions like, and Bhagavad Gita has answer to all the problems. So we are asking, a simple question that I work so hard, but I don't get reward. So it refers to that verse of Bhagavad Gita, and then, Shri Krishna answers that in front of you. So that is how, like, we are actually using AI to a very, very limited, now the questions comes, what if it answers wrong? But that is the limited understanding of people who understands AI, because all they know about is ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is trained over all the content on the internet, which is also biased, wrong, sometimes. But if you feed anything with a very limited specific thing. For example, we are also doing this experiment with Mahatma Gandhi. We are just feeding the LLM model with the letters he have written, with the books, autobiography of them. Then there is no context of answering something which is out of that. And the second thing which we do on top of that is a prompt engineering. We say that you have to answer in a positive manner. If there is some question which is out of the context, if there is some question which can be negative, you have to keep silent in that case. So I believe, and also for corporate, like, we have a lot of these, policies which, 1,000 pages, nobody knows. So you can, actually have a virtual, HR, head who can answer. Like somebody mentioned about GEM, we have GFR policies. I work in government, very few people actually know all the rules. So it makes it very simple that, if we just feed any literature to the LLM model and we can ask questions related to that, and that will be very, very limited and contextual.
I think to add on to that, AI is already making a mark when it comes to HR practices or learning practices. Example that you quoted, we have actually already started using that. So AI-powered bots, who could be policy bots, who could answer HR queries, who could tell you what are your benefits, who could give different answers to a lot of things which frees up the bandwidth of people. That's another thing. And in learning space, I think AI-powered learning management systems is something that we are looking forward to adopt, because that creates a very personalized learning path. Now imagine this, today we all know, in learning space, I have a different pace of learning, I have a different style of learning, and I have a different preference of learning. AI will contextualize based on who is an audio, visual, or a kinesthetic learner, what is their pace, what is their preference, and they will suggest courses and programs accordingly. If someone is struggling with a concept, it will prompt and suggest more of that content and something else to a person which they want to focus on. So I think personalized learning, hands-on, and a very individualistic approach, that's what we will see AI adding on when it comes to HR, training, and corporate space.
Perfect, perfect. Amazing. I guess AI is going to change the complete game. Maybe my last question to you, both of you, despite the challenges, whatever we talked about, the one feature which you liked a lot about this immersive learning, and in terms of preparedness for the future, what kind of strategies you would like to implement there?
So the very first thing is that, whenever because everybody wants and they are fascinated by the word AR, VR, immersive. So it starts like, let's do something immersive and let's do something in VR. That should ideally not be an approach, like, because when not everything is meant for immersive, like, immersive is something where if something can be done on a paper or can be done on a laptop, need not to be, converted into immersive. So the very first thing is to choose the right application and not get, wowed by the technology that you just wanted to use it just for the sake of doing it. So the very first thing is that whatever, industry, educational institutes or government is doing, we have to ask this question, is there a need for this to be immersive? Is there a real benefit of that? So if we choose our application in a very, very thoughtful manner, the people who will use it, they will find it more interesting and there will be more believer on this technology. Otherwise, we'll say that it will not work because initially the first step of it is wrong, that you have chosen the wrong application for immersive. So I feel like, in future, the choice of what should be immersive, like, is very important in every context.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what even I was going to say, that you have to pick areas very carefully. Areas like, STEM, like, science, maths, learnings, or language practice skills. I think that is where immersive would be great. I think anywhere where you need hands-on learning, even practical examples, and even high-stake situations, right? I mean, high stake for an organization is also when you make a final pitch to your very important customer. And if that you could convert into an immersive experience where you learn through an AI, the complexities that could be there, learn from the impact of your choices and how to make that better. I think that is what interests us a lot, so that people, when they go out into the ground, they're far more prepared and they're far more equipped to handle a different kind of challenges.
Great. Thank you, Aditi and Saurav, for sharing these insights. and I hope immersive learning is going to change our future. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to the panelists and to the moderator. Thank you, Ashok.